I was sitting there dreaming that maybe someday this company could be, $100 million company, much less a publicly traded company that went public at north of $1 billion. If I had listened to venture capitalists who didn't like this idea, people who were on boards of publicly traded retail companies who thought this was a bad idea, if I had listened to all of those people, I wouldn't be here today.
Did you ever doubt your idea, or was it more of a matter of silencing out those critics?
I never doubted the idea from a consumer and customer perspective, but it was so hard to raise money. There were lots of people along the way who didn't believe in it, thought it was a bad idea, didn't give me money, said no to me. It forced us to focus on our strengths. It forced us to think about profitability and think about cash really early so that we weren't dependent on what venture capitalists thought of the idea. If I had been handed $100 million, I don't know that I would have understood the business as well as I did.
When you look back at these pivotal growth phases as you leapfrogged opportunities, what was the toughest growth phase for you as a leader?
I have this funny job where my job really has completely changed every year. This year we're a publicly traded company. Last year we weren't. There were years where we were packing all the fixes and my job was to make sure that the printer worked. It was a great way to really learn. The flip side was that it was prone to error and we just didn't have the sophistication that we have today. There was a time when we accidentally deleted the whole database and we had to recreate the transactions of the last 3 days of who got what, and we literally were counting all the inventory in the back and going through client receipts. It was a really great reminder, I think, of how important technology is to our business, but then also how important it is to kind of get your hands dirty and learn what you're doing first.
You said for a part of your career that you only wanted to be referred to as a tech CEO and not a female CEO. You've become more comfortable leaning into this. Why is that?
I definitely was resistant. I didn't want to just be a female CEO. I wanted to be a successful CEO regardless of gender. When I went to business school, for my application essays, I was kind of working on who do I admire. Meg Whitman was at the time the CEO of eBay. I knew already she was somebody I admired. And then I went on this search of publicly traded companies, who were women running the company, what was their career path. I didn't need a lot of rows in my spreadsheet to fill that out. So now I'm proud of that, and I feel a lot of responsibility of making sure that the next person who's Googling public CEOs is actually going to be able to see more examples of that and to be able to feel oh, I can see myself on this list, and that it's not just a lot of kind of men in suits.
If you were to reflect back to when you started this company, what advice would you give to yourself at that moment that you wish you had known then?
I remember thinking those early days, it felt like this complete roller coaster. There's the best days ever, and then there were these worst days ever, and it was really hard to not feel like you were on this whiplash. There was a lot of anxiety that came with that, and I would love to try to figure out how I could give myself advice to be able to pull the lens back a little bit and remind myself of, where we are now is a lot better than where we were 3 months ago or 6 months ago. I think a little perspective would have helped.